For 1,000 years, alien civilizations observed Christmas in absolute silence, dissecting it, modeling it, reducing it to equations and probabilities, believing they had finally solved the human condition, until the moment they realized the truth they had missed was not what humans celebrated, not how they celebrated it, but why, after everything, they never stopped. For 1,000 years the archivists of the Aurelian Concord studied Christmas the way they studied supernovae and extinct species, from a distance, with precision and emotional detachment, cataloging it as a recurring human anomaly that defied predictive models, because unlike human wars, governments, or technologies, Christmas refused to optimize, refused to scale efficiently, and refused to disappear under pressure. And so the aliens recorded it across centuries and star systems, watching from hidden arrays as humanity carried the tradition from planetary surfaces to orbital habitats, from flooded coastlines to artificial worlds, from crude settlements to interstellar colonies carved into the dark, always at the same time, always marked by light in the darkness, by exchange without calculation, by memory passed hand to hand. And at first the Concord classified Christmas as a primitive bonding ritual rooted in early scarcity cycles, a behavioral relic designed to stabilize tribes. During harsh seasonal conditions, a cultural fossil expected to fade once humans achieved post-need economics, yet it did not fade, and when scarcity ended, Christmas remained, and when borders dissolved, Christmas remained, and when religions fractured and reformed, Christmas remained, and when Earth itself was partially abandoned and mythologized, Christmas remained, and this persistence unsettled the archivists, because persistence without measurable utility suggested an unknown function. Something hidden beneath surface behavior, so they observed more closely, slowing recordings to study facial microexpressions, neural resonance patterns, hormonal fluctuations, discovering that during Christmas human emotional variance narrowed, not into sameness, but into alignment, grief coexisting with joy, loss intertwined with gratitude, memory braided with hope, an emotional paradox alien psychology could not reproduce, because alien societies evolved by eliminating contradiction, believing. Stability required emotional clarity, and so they could not understand why humans deliberately revisited painful memories during a celebration, why they spoke the names of the dead while smiling, why generosity peaked not when resources were most abundant but when reflection was deepest, and the archivists hypothesized that Christmas functioned as a controlled release valve for suppressed trauma. Yet the data refused to cooperate, because post-Christmas resilience increased, conflict tolerance rose, cooperation metrics spiked, and despair, suicide, and social fragmentation temporarily declined even in the most isolated or hostile environments, and so the Concord expanded the study, embedding observers among human populations under cultural exchange accords, allowing alien anthropologists to witness Christmas not as observers in orbit but as presences on the ground. And they watched humans pause vast industrial operations not through command or coercion but by collective agreement. Watched soldiers cease fire across hostile lines without treaties, watched estranged families reunite under fragile, unspoken truces, watched debt suspended, hierarchies softened, and time itself treated as something to be shared rather than spent, and still the aliens failed to understand, because they searched for authority, hierarchy, genetic impulse, or biological mandate, and found none, only choice, repeated annually, freely, inefficiently, and then came the 1,000-year report. Delivered with confidence to the High Concord, concluding that Christmas was a symbolic compression of human history, a mnemonic event designed to preserve identity across generations, and the Concord accepted this explanation until the night of the silent orbit, when a deep-range listening array detected a synchronized emotional spike across multiple human systems during a Christmas cycle that coincided with no disaster, no political upheaval, no existential threat, and this disturbed the Concord profoundly, because synchronization without stimulus implied intent beyond reaction, and so the aliens attempted replication, simulating Christmas internally by recreating decorations, exchanges, music, even perfectly modeled gift-giving algorithms, yet the simulation produced nothing, no resonance, no cohesion, no emotional convergence, and frustrated, the Concord concluded that Christmas depended on mythic belief structures humans themselves no longer consciously articulated, until the Helios fringe collapse, when a peripheral human colony lost power, heat, and orbital stability within the same hour, and the Concord prepared to evacuate only essential assets, classifying the colony as statistically unsalvageable, but intercepted human transmissions revealed something the models had never predicted: not panic, not blame, not fragmentation, but preparation. As humans redirected remaining energy toward communal spaces, assembled ornaments by hand from scrap materials, shared, stored food without accounting or expectation, and initiated Christmas observance despite the probability of evacuation or death, and alien observers recorded something unprecedented: humans facing probable extinction without emotional collapse, instead intensifying connection. And when the Concord demanded to know why precious energy was being wasted on ceremony, a human voice responded calmly that Christmas was not about survival, but about remembering who deserved to survive, and this single statement initiated a cascading re-evaluation, because for the first time the aliens understood that Christmas was not reactive but declarative, not dependent on outcomes but independent of them, a statement of values made regardless of whether anyone was left to remember it. And as the colony stabilized long enough for evacuation, against every predictive model, the Concord detected an anomaly. Probability deviation correlated not with energy output but with emotional density, and the archivists reopened a long-suppressed archive from ancient cycles describing a phenomenon known as the echo, a resonance event produced by civilizations that synchronized meaning rather than intent, and with growing unease the Concord realized humans had been engaging in controlled resonance for millennia without collapse because they did not seek amplification, dominance, or transcendence, but limitation, anchoring vast emotion in humility, memory, and shared fragility, and for the first time in a 1,000 years of study the Concord formally admitted error, acknowledging that Christmas was not a ritual to be understood externally but an internal agreement humans renewed annually to choose empathy over efficiency, to remember the past without being ruled by it, to offer light without demanding return. And when the Concord finally asked humanity what Christmas truly meant, expecting doctrine, theology, or philosophy, a human historian replied that Christmas was simply a reminder humans gave themselves that they were still capable of kindness after everything they had done and endured, and this was the truth the aliens had never anticipated, because alien civilizations evolved by eliminating weakness, while humanity survived by forgiving it, and the Concord amended its cultural models, reclassifying Christmas not as a tradition but as a stabilizing ethical anchor, a technology of the heart requiring no machinery, and in the cycles that followed, other species cautiously experimented with remembrance seasons of their own, not copying Christmas but inspired by its principle, and the archivists closed the 1,000-year study with a final entry into the galactic record stating that the most powerful force humans carried into the universe was not innovation, expansion, or aggression, but the quiet, stubborn insistence on remembering love in a universe that offered no obligation to do so, and that truth, once understood, could never be unlearned.